We'll take our first opening remarks from the Chairman of the National Commission for Civic Education, Ms. Kathleen Addy. Please let's welcome her.
Our honorable members of Parliament, the Foreign Commonwealth Development Office, FOCD, the UNDP, Deputy Chairs of NCCE, Directors and staff of NCCE, all the support staff, everybody gathered here. I wish you all a very good morning. I'm honored and excited to be here today for this all-important workshop for female parliamentarians of the 9th Parliament of the 4th Republic. Over the next 2 days, we will focus on the Affirmative Action Act, Gender Equity Act 2024, Act 1121. We will explore the policy-making process, lobbying, advocacy, research, community mobilization strategies for civic participation, and a lot more. Most important for me, though, is the hope that at the end of this workshop, we will have a stronger women's caucus that will actively push the women's agenda in Parliament and work together to breathe life into the Affirmative Action Act. The National Commission for Civic Education is an independent, non-partisan governance institution set up under Article 231 of the Constitution of the Republic of Ghana. And the National Commission for Civic Education Act 1993, Act 452 of the Parliament of Ghana. The Commission works to promote and sustain democracy and inculcate in the Ghanaian citizenry the awareness of rights and obligations through civic education. Our work includes promoting inclusiveness and participation of marginalized groups, and this includes women. And that's why we are so excited for this program today. And we are hoping that with the support of our sponsors, this will be the first of many. I am aware that participants have been under so much stress and are so tired. And I want to extend my deep appreciation for choosing to be here and participating, demonstrating commitment to the cause, commitment to your constituents, and commitment to our country, Ghana. Very much appreciated, honorable MPs. Thank you for coming. Women's participation in politics is crucial for achieving gender equality and sustainable development. So before we move on, I just want to give a snapshot of how things stand as far as women's participation in politics is concerned. It's not a very good picture, not just in Ghana, across the world. As of January 2025, only 25 countries have women serving across the world, have women serving as head of state or government representatives. Only 22% of cabinet members are heading ministries. But the thing is that what is most interesting about that is the fact that, apart from the fact that there are so few women, most women ministers or government representatives are constrained to a particular sort of portfolio, such as women and gender equality, family and children's affairs, social policies that benefit family and children's affairs, social inclusion and development, social protection and social security, culture, and so on and so forth. Please, that is not to say that these issues are not important, but it feels as if there's a grand design to maintain women in their traditional gender roles, even at the highest level of leadership. So we have to understand that this, just having people represented, having women in position is not enough. The struggle and the fight goes much deeper than that. The representation is important because people have to see themselves. Young ladies, young girls have to see themselves in leadership positions. They have to see people who look like them, people who experience what they experience in life as leaders. But beyond that, we have to go further. We have to break this thing where, like President Buhari said, and got into trouble a couple of years ago. My wife belongs to the kitchen, the sitting room, and the other room. You remember that? He meant it in all honesty, because that is what he truly believes. And that belief, that mindset, is in the minds of many. It's not something that people are bold enough to see, but it informs a lot of things, and it informs how women's leadership is experienced. Currently, only 6 countries have 50% or more women in parliament across the world. Rwanda has 64%, Cuba has 56%, Nicaragua 55%, Andorra 50%, Mexico 50%. And what I found surprising in my research, the United Arab Emirates also with 50%. I read somewhere that at the current rate of progress, gender parity in national legislative bodies will not be achieved before the year 2063. And we can't afford to have that. And if we are going to accelerate the development, we are going to accelerate the objective and get to the gender parity points that we want, then we must all put our shoulder to the wheel and work hard, because even though strategically it's very important to have he for she's, male advocates who will fight for the cause of women, nobody can fight for the cause of women better than the women themselves. We are the ones who can fight for the cause, because we are living the experience of being a woman. In Ghana's parliament, since you are here, I don't have to say much about it. We still are hovering 39-40. We are still at 14%, somewhere thereabout. Even though the first woman to enter parliament entered parliament a long time ago in 1969. So by now, we should have moved forward. We should have evolved to a point where we would even be able to attain the 30% that the UN mandates naturally without any intervention. The fact that we are still hovering here says a lot about the struggle that is ahead. But like I said before, it's a problem that is global. In the US, the total number of women in Congress is like 28%. The Senate has 26% and the House has 28%. In Russia, women make up just 16% of the national parliament. In China, which surprised me a lot, really, because I thought that Chinese politics was more evolved. But the National People's Congress, women make up only 22% of that. The National People's Congress Standing Committee, women have only 16%. But what shocked me really was that the Politburo, for the first time in 25 years, has no woman after the 20th Party Congress in 2022. So the Chinese Politburo, as it stands today, does not even have a single woman in it. But we can't talk about all the negative ones without mentioning the star, the jewel in the crown, which is Rwanda. Rwanda is standing tall with about 63% of seats in the Chamber of Deputies and 53% of seats in the Senate occupied by women. Rwanda is the first country in the world with a female majority in parliament. But this is not something that happened organically. This required that leadership and the country come together and decide that we will make special arrangements for women to be there, to give them capacity, to strengthen them. Because we all know the impediments that stand in the way of women trying to get into political office. If we start talking about it now, if I open the floor and I say people should say why women don't, they don't even want to stand, we will be talking. Next year by this time, we'll still be sitting here talking. Because we all know how hard it is. I tell people being a parliamentarian in a place like Ghana is hard. It's hard. It's tough work. is really tough. Beyond the financial implications of running for office, the social price that you have to pay with your family, with your colleagues, with your political opponents, you know, there's always a competition, but what is dished out at men is different. What women get is more in terms of the negative blowback. So it's not an easy thing at all. So if we are here today and we have this opportunity, I just want to urge all of us to take this seriously. Big things start with small steps. Today it looks like we're just coming to do this thing, we don't know where to go. But this could be the beginning of something really important and something great. For me, like I mentioned earlier, I am looking for a strong women's caucus. A strong women's caucus that works together. Of course, you know, there are different parties, but that when it comes to the issue of women, that can set everything aside and say that, okay, this is our common cause. All our daughters are looking at us. All our sons are looking at us. We want to raise empowered daughters. We want our sons to be used to being with empowered women, to bring down the temperature amongst families, among couples when it comes to women taking positions of power. So when it comes to that, for that reason, we want to see a strong bipartisan caucus that works at least on the issue of women, that comes together to work together. So somebody will ask, why bother with all this? Why do we need representation? First of all, it's only fair. Women make up about, if not 50%, something close to 50% of the population. 50.7. So we are actually, just a minute, we're actually more, you know. So it only makes sense, it's only fair that we have fair representation. The diversity in leadership has a value that is almost intangible, because women's experience is different from men's experience. So the men's experience that informs policy making, that informs how money is spent, how resources are distributed, is quite different from how women will see it, because their experience of life is different. Because they manage households, because they bear children, they raise children, they protect families, and so their perspective on what is important for a society will be different. And it is a mixture of those experiences that will bring us the best policies. But when policy is informed by almost just half the population, you can almost be assured that the policies that will come out will not serve everybody equitably. So it is important in that sense. The experiences of both men and women must inform policy making. Young people need role models. Both young women and young men need to see women in positions of power, not just young ladies. Young men also need to see it. It needs to be normalized. It shouldn't be an exception. It shouldn't be something that happens once in a while that is a novelty. Everybody must get used to the idea of women leadership. So we need role models. I always say that, yes, we need role models for young ladies, but young men also need to see it. And then, of course, there's always the issue of representing your own interest. Nobody can represent your interest better than yourself. So for that reason, it is important that women are at the decision-making table so that they can advocate for themselves, speak for themselves, and represent their own interests. So all for these and many other reasons, empowerment, for better outcomes, for representing interests, breaking down barriers, all of these reasons, it is important that we pursue this agenda. If you think of what it has taken for even to get this legislation, you should understand that it's not something that comes easy. And there is a resistance out there that we all need to acknowledge, embrace, and strategize how to combat. So on that note, I look forward to a very vibrant and extremely exciting workshop. Of course, we expect active participation. We expect that people will bring their ideas on board. And by the time we leave on Sunday, we will have a strategy and a roadmap that will definitely lead to a positive outcome. So on that note, I won't talk too much. Thank you very much. I look forward to getting to know all of you better.